Hey everybody, Miss Teacher here. We're taking a look at Chapter 5, Percents, doubled number line, and we're looking at question number 1. And the way we should be thinking of these number lines would be the bottom part would be the percent, because see how it's out of 100? And the top bar or line would be the number. So the way we should set this up is we should think about parts and wholes. So this is meaning 25 out of 100. So do you see where we're getting the numbers from? 25 out of 100. 25 out of 100 would be what number out of 40? So if we simplify this, we can divide by 25 and get 1. We can divide by 25 and get 4 and take advantage of the fact that 4 is compatible with 40 and just do 4 times 10 to get that and do 1 times 10 to get the answer. Now another way you could look at this, just because it is a proportion, is you could just set it up this way. Some number over 25, see some number over 25, equals 40 out of 100, 40 out of 100. And if we were to solve this, we would still get the same answer. So we might divide by 10 first by getting rid of those zeros. And if we divide this by 2, we get 2. And if we divide this by 2, we get 5. So that would give us the same thing, because 5 times 5 would be 25. We would do 2 times 5, and it would give us the same thing we would get if we did 1 times 10. So the blue version of it is not incorrect. However, it doesn't follow the idea of parts and wholes, which is the concept we're trying to understand with percent. So if we look at the second question, there's 2 ways we can set this up. The way that I'm going to suggest you set it up is the idea of taking that bottom line and interpreting that as percent, because that would be 40 out of 100. 40 out of 100 is to what number out of 60? What number out of 60? And then we could just get rid of those zeros and take advantage of the fact that 10 is compatible with 60 and multiply the 4 times 6 to get your answer that way. Now, if you had done it as some number out of 40, see some number out of 40 equals 60 over 100, you would still get the right answer, but then you're not adhering to the idea of parts and wholes, which is what percent is all about. All right, if we look at the next question and set this up in a parts and wholes kind of way, rather than to just set it up the same way it appears in the number line, this is 60 out of 100, 60%, 60 out of 100. And we want to know if this is the part, what's the whole? So again, let's get rid of those zeros. 6 is compatible with 48, so let's take advantage of that. 6 times 8 would be 48, so we would just do the 10 times 8 to get the answer. But if we had set it up this way, which would be just looking at the 48 over 60 as to what number over 100, you could still get the right answer. However, this method here is not adhering to the idea of percents, which is really about parts and wholes. Let's look at the next question. This would be, if we're talking about percent, right, here's what we have. We know that 36 is the part, and we want to know the whole. And we know that we're talking about 75 out of 100. That's 75 out of 100. That's equal to 75%. If we simplify this, that will make that a little bit easier for you. All right, so hopefully you know how to pick it up from there. The other way to do it is to write it as 36 over 75 as what number is to 100. But again, the red method is preferred simply because we want to get accustomed to that idea of parts being the numerator and wholes being the denominator. All right, so for this one, I'm recommending setting it up like this. Some number out of 100 is equal to 14 out of 35. But doing it, setting it up in the blue format is not incorrect, but this does adhere to the idea of parts and wholes. So let's skip ahead to questions like this. Because if we think about that idea of parts and wholes, and we say this is 25 out of 100, isn't 25 out of 100 the same as 25%? And isn't this the all of it number, and don't we want the part? So let's look at the answer choices here. I see a 25% in here, so let's look at that one first. It says, what is 25% of 40? Is that basically what we're trying to find out? Are we trying to find the percentage of the whole? So all these other ones don't really mention anything about this being equal to this, so they're probably not going to be right. Now the next question, kind of the same idea. If we're talking about this being the percent, that's 40 out of 100, that's 40%. And this would be the all of it number, right? The 60 would be the all because 100% is considered all.